Yes, there it is, Grauman's Chinese Theater, and did you know for a time they actually had a tunnel from there to here at the Roosevelt? Hey everybody, I'm Dave Beacom, KTLA 5 News, just around the corner here in Hollywood. Had a chance to catch up with some of your board members incoming, 2011, 2012, and a little sense of how they feel about Hollywood past and present. Take a look.
I feel the movies are the one true American gift to the world. The Hollywood Roosevelt is the anchor. It was built around the same time as Grauman's Chinese Theater. It was built by Mary Pickford, Louis B. Mayer, Douglas Fairbanks. Johnny would come into the offices and announce. He had nicknames for absolutely everybody. And he'd walk through the chamber offices and he'd come to my door and he'd say, "Tar Heel, how are we this morning?" Because of course he had that great broadcaster's voice.
From what I understand, the original Academy Awards only took 5 minutes. I'm hoping that tonight's awards don't take much longer. Marilyn Monroe, well, I've never met her, but I know that she did her first photographic ad for sunscreen there by the pool.
I think it's beautiful. I love the architecture. I love the pool. David Hockney put the plaster down on that pool with the white and blue. It's very cool.
Tropicana Bar is down there, and great view on a hot day.
Seeing that little Shirley Temple when she was 6 years old, and she actually started her dancing with that Bojangles on the tile floors in the Roosevelt Hotel.
I want to do that too.
She was popular during the Depression and was able to put smiles on people's faces and warm people's hearts even through tough times.
My mother shows us pictures of where she looked a lot like her, the Asian version, of course. She had the same curly hair that was, just above the shoulders and the chubby cheeks.
I am so thrilled and honored and humbled that you're considering me as a nominee for the Academy Award. I've always wanted an Oscar, and to be able to receive an Academy Award in the Blossom Room at the historic Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, I mean, that's the first place that they ever held the Academy Awards.
One of my first mentors, his name is Bob Clift, ironically related to Montgomery Clift, who is said to actually walk the halls of the lovely hotel.
When I think of historic Hollywood, I think of Dorothy Dandridge and Harry Belafonte. And I remember that was the first time I had seen African Americans in a role during that era that was not a servant or a slave, or it wasn't a comedy.
You must remember
The Big Sleep and The Maltese Falcon. It's kind of the golden era of films. They both star Humphrey Bogart, who I've been in love with, I think, since I realized he was a movie star, even when I was young.
I looked over the balcony from the Hollywood and Highland Complex to watch the ceremony, and they fixed her hair perfectly for people at ground level, but people above her could see this perfect bald spot in the top of her head.
Michelle Pfeiffer is who I would relate to as far as the Hollywood Roosevelt. She is by far one of my favorite actresses. She did film a movie at the hotel.
And all of us kids would get to flood the streets of Hollywood the afternoon before, tour around, have a lovely time interacting with the street performers.
First time I ever came to Los Angeles, I stayed at the Roosevelt. And this was maybe 15 years ago, so it hadn't gone through its renovation yet, but yet I knew about the history of the hotel, and that's why I really wanted to stay there.
People during that time would get together and hang out in a bar, and that would be, social networking back in the day.
It's a gorgeous hotel. It does have a lot of history. Beverly Hills Cop 2, part of it was shot at the hotel.
When you're there and you just feel the nostalgia. Cary Grant is one of my favorite old-time actors. I think he is such a class act, amazing actor, and of course, very good looking. And I think I'm connected to him also because allegedly he was the one that said, "Judy, Judy, Judy." I am the president for 2011 and 12.